This is my good friend Tony Singh. He's an Edinburgh boy and one of Scotland's finest chefs.
Service! This is my good friend Cyrus Toriwala, OBE. He came from Bombay 20 years ago, and nowadays he even cooks for Her Majesty the Queen.
Written on a plate.
We both love this beautiful country of ours.
Even its weather.
And British food is the best in the world. But sadly, in most British homes, spices are banished to the back of the cupboard.
That's 2010. But that's 2009. Bought in 2001.
Oh dear. It's vintage.
We want to spread the joy of spices. Spices are not just hot, they are the simplest way to add a whole array of drama and flavor to food.
So, we've got an idea. We're going to travel the country to show how spices can make British food even more delicious. Star anise, apple crumble?
What about fish and chips with spicy batter? We are going to
Spice up Britain.
I love every lick of it. I like it.
Do you like Wales?
Look at that, lovely. Land of dragons,
Land
history.
of Dragons. I have a certain affinity to this place actually, I don't know why. We are traveling through South Wales, a land proud of its heritage and produce.
We'll be seeing how the most traditional dish can be given an added sparkle with a sprinkling of spices.
It's absolutely excellent.
We are cooking a ghost cheese flan with fragrant caraway seeds.
Showing how nutmeg can completely transform a steamed treacle pudding.
And I want to prove how cinnamon and cloves can underscore the most delicate meat with a very special Welsh lamb stew.
This is lovely. We're in Carmarthenshire on a trail of a product that's really catching on. The valleys, the lush fields, full of sheep. And Wales is famous for its sheep.
Absolutely.
But I'm looking for something else, something a bit special, something that they're carving a name out for themselves here. When you travel up some Welsh mountains, you can find a creature that's been roaming here wild for 10,000 years.
I think you'll find it, Chef. I think you'll find it.
Come on, let's get some goat.
You know
Let's
about it.
stop kidding around here. Even these domesticated goats roam free, and they feed on a yearly cycle of wild flowers, herbs and berries. This gives their milk a wonderful, distinct flavour that varies throughout the seasons. This is what we came for, Chef. Come on now, we're not going to chop you up. We're here to get some delicious goat's cheese from one of the best cheesemakers in the region. Lynn.
There you go, the cheese. Cass Kinross,
This is very nice.
Surprising. So creamy.
my favourite.
We want to cook with cheese.
I'd like to enhance the flavour with some spice. For my spicy goat's cheese recipe, I'm using what's probably the first spice ever to be cultivated in Europe, caraway. I'm going to make a caraway and goat's cheese tart with onion marmalade.
Whilst you're doing that,
What?
so I'll try and make you some nice red onion pickle.
Ooh, that
go with it.
Cut through it. Oh, that'll be fantastic.
Yeah?
Caraway, fantastic, very pungent, very aniseedy flavour. It's wonderful. It's used in seed cake. It's used in cheese making in Scandinavia. That's why it's going to work perfectly with a superb goat's cheese. Like all whole spices, we need to start roasting them gently to get the flavour out. Not to get carried away with the caraway seeds, but don't be shy either. You want enough in there for that punchy aniseed flavour. The aniseed flavour of the caraway seeds is enhanced during the toasting. You can hear them popping. This produces a wonderful fruity sweet nuttiness in the seeds. So I'm just going to pop them in the mortar and we give them a quick scrunch. I'm not breaking them down too much. I just want to crack them. I still want that texture when we put them in the onion marmalade. To start the onion marmalade, we need to fry a pound of sliced red onions. And for this, I'm using golden rapeseed oil and around 3 ounces of unsalted butter.
Using both butter and oil, eh?
Yes.
Why is that?
If you just use butter, it burns, so I'm putting oil in as well and cook it down slowly. I'm adding salt and 3 generous spoons of demerara sugar. After 5 minutes, add the toasted caraway seeds. Then pop the lid on, and that's left to caramelise for another 15 minutes. Okay, this is looking good. What we're going to do now, Chef, is cut it a little bit of cheap balsamic vinegar in there.
Yeah.
Goes in. A little bit more if you want it sharper, a little bit less if you want it sweeter.
What happens now?
Let's go, Chef. Build a tart. Okay. This is going to be fabulous.
Cream and egg is ready.
I need you to cut this. 12 slices, please. So the lovely marmalade goes in the bottom of this pre-cooked short crust pastry. I've blind baked my short crust pastry case in a fan tin with a removable base. Listen to that noise. Oh, it's just scrumptious. It's sticky. It's jammy.
Yes, go on. Here, take the first one. 2.
1, 2.
They're broken bits.
Once the cheese is in, we need to whip up 2 large eggs with 200 mils of lovely rich double cream, and that's going to go on top to bind everything together. Just put it on.
No salt inside.
No salt. We've got salt in the cheese, salt in the pastry. If the bits of cheese are sticking out, it doesn't matter. It's got the lovely colour. It's going to melt. It's going to be nice. I'm putting it in the oven at 200 degrees for around 25 minutes on until it's lovely and golden on top.
To complement the tart, I'm making a lovely fresh pickle. For this, I need a pound of sliced red onions, the juice of 2 limes, chili flakes to taste, salt, around 1.5 tablespoons of pomegranate molasses. A bit of pickling vinegar. That goes in a sealed jar, and the longer it's left, the better. 3 hours minimum, or overnight if you can wait.
Ooh, now for the moment of truth. Okay, Chef, this is the magic.
Go on.
Drop the tin on top of an upturned bowl to release the mould. Lovely. And there you have it, one gorgeous golden goat cheese and caraway tart.
How many pieces, Chef?
Oh, probably 1 each.
Are you ready, sir?
Yes, I am.
I thought you might be. Look at that, Chef.
Beautiful.
Where shall I put it, sir?
No, put it down here. I'm just going to put a bit of mint and tarragon on it, just to go with the caraway.
There we go.
Clever, Chef, you're getting there.
Is that goat cheese flavor? Then you got the sweetness underneath. With the caraway seed come through.
You've got that lovely anise flavour, but the goat's cheese is not hidden.
Guess
Chef.
what, Chef? Goat cheese, caraway, and onion marmalade tart.
Something from the past, the caraway, brought up to date for this modern classic, Chef.
Into the future.
Yes. Spices first became popular in Britain at the time of the Crusades. It's about the same time we began cooking with sugar. They've got a fantastic thing called a Welsh cake, but it's got nutmeg and cinnamon in there, and fruit. One of the first foods in Britain with spice in it.
It's sugar and spice and all things nice that's brought us to Bridget. We're here in search of a big name in confectionery.
Oh, look at sweeties, coconut mushrooms, orange lemon fizz balls, aniseed balls.
Aniseed balls. Ella Riley first made toffee in 1907 and they sold right across the British Empire. 100 years later, her granddaughter Freya found her old recipe book and decided to revive the family tradition. Now, 11-year-old great-granddaughter Hallie's joined the business.
Treacle Toffee, Treacle Toffee. Hi.
Hi.
We've seen some fantastic Treacle Toffee in the window, and we heard you do the best.
Yes.
Can we have some?
Yes, you can.
Is it in quarters or is it all this metric rubbish?
It's in quarters, like it should be.
Yes, I'd have half a pound then. Can we have a taste of this Treacle Toffee?
Yes.
That's quite good. Oh!
That's it.
Here you go.
Thank you very much. Taste the treacle. That bonfire is smelly.
We are looking to do something magical with that.
The toffee's all handmade at the back of the shop by Hallie's dad, Stephen. Oh, smell that. that treacle? Is it molasses?
It's treacle toffee, so it's got black treacle in it along with some syrup.
That almost looks like it's about to burn.
It's called treacle toffee and bonfire toffee because of the smell of smoke that you get at an old traditional bonfire. When you breathe it in, you'll feel a very slight burn in the back of your throat.
We thought we could put a bit of spice in there just to change it a little.
The process, it'll take around about 12 minutes for it to cook, but I think putting it in the start will certainly have the flavours.
Do you know what we're going to put in it, Chef? Aniseed.
Why are we putting aniseed in?
It's a traditional spice used in British confectionery. Aniseed balls,
Absolutely.
aniseed gums, licorice rolls. So, but with the treacle, you've got that metallic little tang there. I think the aniseed will work perfectly with it. And people forget it's a spice.
So,
There we go. The alarm goes.
Okay.
so this is the dangerous part.
Yes.
Literally pour it onto a sheet of greaseproof paper, and now you can really smell that
Yep.
smell of bonfire that you've got there.
Seeds of anise are not the only spice that work well in toffee. Ground cinnamon and nutmeg are equally as good.
Let's face it, British kids are not famous for taking to spices. So I wonder how Stephen and Hallie's customers will react to finding aniseed in their toffee. Ooh. You like it? What do you like about it?
It's got good flavour.
Is it different to the normal toffee you've been eating here?
Yes.
It is.
Nice. Well, that's good. So far, so good. But what does the boss make of it? Could you have a taste and tell us what you think?
Ooh. Oh. Wow. Very deep thought. Is it good?
Is it good? It's excellent.
Oh,
Oh,
fantastic.
wow. If Haley was selling this, would you buy some?
Now for a spicy toffee treat. For those adults who, like me, haven't grown up yet. We're going to make steamed sponge pudding with this treacle toffee
Yeah.
and give it a bit of bling, some nutmeg.
Oh, you want me to do some nutmeg for
I
you?
want you to do some nutmeg for me, okay?
Okay, sir.
Nutmegs, they can vary from strong and bitter to spicy and sweet. And the sweetest come from the Caribbean island of Grenada.
So what I've got here is a whole nutmeg as it would be on a tree. And when that cracks, you know that it's ripe because the inner seed has outgrown the fruit. What we have here is two spices in one fruit. So what I've got here is the mace. But this here is what the nutmeg is. The magic is inside that outer shell. When you have removed the shell, you're left with the kernel packed with flavor and oils. It is now ready for grating.
Right, let's get cracking on that pudding. Okay, so we're going to butter the pudding basin. We're going to steam the pudding in. This is going to stop the pudding sticking to it with the syrup on the bottom and the toffee through it. Okay, so what we've got in there is 140 grams of self-raising flour. And a dusting of flour also helps to stop the pudding sticking. And we're just going to sieve it through. What we're doing at every stage is try to make the pudding nice and light. So self-raising flour. Add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So we've got 150 grams of caster sugar going in there. And we're going to cream in 85 grams of unsalted butter. Once you've creamed the butter and sugar, add the grated rind of 1 lemon and 1 lime. We'll also need 1 whole grated nutmeg.
How much nutmeg do we need?
All of it, chef.
All of it. 98% of nutmeg bought in this country is ready ground, but freshly grated nutmeg has better flavor and character.
Next, add 2 whole eggs to the zesty, buttery mix. Okay, what I need you to do is sift in the flour for me. Sifting the flour for a second time helps keep the treacle pudding nice and light. And now for our nutmeg. And what we're going to do is going to break the toffee into nice pieces.
So the toffee is going to melt inside.
Some of it will melt, some of it will stay together, and you'll have this unctuous toffee flavour through the pudding.
All right.
If the mixture's sticking to the spoon, add a drop of milk. Just go for a dribble. Yeah, very good. A little bit more. A spoonful. That'll do. There we go. Just what we need. It's falling off the spoon. What we need,
Yep.
a bit of golden syrup, chef, on the bottom of the floured bowl. Lovely dropping consistency as it just drops off your spoon. Oh, look at that. We need to double cover the bowl for steaming. First, I use a layer of greaseproof paper, which I pleat and attach with a strong rubber band. And then the same again with the tin foil. Okay, so got a little tap and then into a pan of boiling water. Plate first. It diffuses the heat so it doesn't crack the pudding basin or burn or anything. It stops that rattling noise.
That's good.
So if you pop that on. Then fill the pan with water halfway up the bowl and leave it to steam for a good hour and a half. Come on, let it do its magic. An hour and a half passed in a blink of an eye and my pudding's done. You ready, chef? Hold on.
Oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming.
Look at that.
The moment has arrived. Shall we pour the custard?
And now for a final sprinkling of freshly grated nutmeg. Just
Hey,
happy.
beautiful toffee, crumbling. Cannot wait.
Awesome.
That's an explosion of flavors.
The nutmeg in there just lifts everything up.
Beautiful stuff, sir. Success is yours.
Thank you.
I love it. On our journey to bring the magic of spice to some of Wales's finest produce, we are now hunting down the most famous of all.
Wow, chef, look at the gower.
Yes, sir. It's beautiful. But that's not what we are after.
What? What else?
We're after all the little white dots you see.
Pillowcases.
Pillowcases. Fluffy, woolly pillowcases.
Let's go and eat them. Come on.
Go there. All Welsh lamb is good, but for the creme de la creme of Welsh lamb, we've come to the Gower Peninsula.
So you're bigging up these lambs.
Yeah.
Is it Cyrus of the Lambs? It's tasty. With fava beans.
I've brought Tony here to meet farmer Roland Pritchard, who produces some of Britain's finest salt marsh lamb.
Morning.
Hello.
How are you?
But what makes it so special?
Well, this is what makes them special, the marsh.
The marsh.
In a few hours, that's why we're getting the sheep in. This will
Yep.
all be underwater.
So what will that do?
Well, that affects the vegetation. It'll stop the traditional rye grasses growing. So we have the fescues grow, and in with the fescues is herbs.
So fescues are grass. What type of herbs?
The sandfire, the sorrel and thrift. The sea lavender comes in later in the season as well, and that'll turn the marsh pink.
And they eat that as well?
They eat that as well.
And that imparts their flavour to the lamb.
Go straight into the flavour, yeah.
Okay.
When you're cooking it, you'd notice the difference smelling it when you're cooking it.
So you just roast it, grill it, boil
Salt
it?
and pepper?
No,
No.
don't need
No salt and pepper, nothing.
Just salt and peppers for New Zealand lamb.
Okay. No, that's very interesting because what we're trying to do is enhance the amazing produce Britain has with a bit of spice.
So you think we could have some of your lamb then, sir?
Should we go and catch one?
I
Come
would
on.
like to, definitely.
Right, how fast can you run?
Not as fast as those. Roland and his son Will are not alone in thinking spices will obscure the flavor of good meat. In fact, the opposite is true. Spices can accentuate the most delicate taste, and to prove it, I'm making a spiced lamb stew.
British lamb, best in the world. Doesn't it be salt marsh fed? Look for the red tractor when you're in the
Absolutely.
supermarket.
Absolutely.
Quality assured then.
Always quality assured. Most importantly, chef, you need to trim as much fat off as is possible. In lamb in particular, something triggers off an enzyme in the meat that just does not like things like turmeric and spices. So what I decide to do, clean it up. The less fat, gristle and sinew when you cook with spice, the better. You get more clarity in flavor.
Of the meat and less cloyingness of the fat.
Absolutely.
You're left with this beautiful, moist,
Here you
pink
go.
meat.
If you're happy, let's go to the spice station, sir. We'll leave that here for the time being and carry on with it.
I'll bring the pot.
We're going to start with our spices. Pepper. Because pepper is the king.
King of spices.
Spices. Okay, give me some.
Oh, look how fragrant it is. If you get a chance,
It's fragrant.
just open your pepper mill, Have a lovely sniff of pepper. It's very floral.
Pepper is what launched this whole big global frenzy on the world wanting to find spices.
You know, they say the face that launched 1,000 ships shouldn't have been. It should have been pepper.
Should have been pepper. For this recipe, to 1 teaspoon of black peppercorns, add 10 whole cloves and 3 pieces of cinnamon. Then I toast them. The pepper adds a bit of heat and the cinnamon brings out the delicate sweetness of the young meat. Just want to show you what happens to the cloves when they are toasted. If you can see now, they are swollen. So look at that clove there in my hand. Yeah? And look at a clove that has been toasted.
Wow.
The oil inside is heating up. As a result, it has expanded the clove. And with that expansion now, when you put the clove into any liquid, it will absorb the liquid.
And expel the oil come out.
Aha!
Very
Got it,
good.
sir. Because a lot of people take the clove and chuck it straight in. You're wasting dynamite, flavor, essence, aroma, everything, and money. The dried flower bud, that is the clove, draws out the flavor of the flowers and herbs that fed this gorgeous salt marsh lamb. I'm adding a pinch of salt and enough water just to cover the meat. On goes the tight-fitting lid, then simmer for half an hour. You okay, sir?
Just finishing the potatoes. Some people throw their potatoes in at the start, but it's better to cook them separately, as you never know how long a lamb will take to cook, and we don't want the tatties to get mushy.
Now for the onions. I always try and use red ones as they are more compact and contain less water. Onions add flavor, and I'm using their oily juices to make a roux to thicken my stew.
And how much flour would you add to that?
2 tablespoons. We got coconut milk going in.
3.
Okay, chef. Gently cook for 3 or 4 minutes until the flour is well absorbed. Take a sniff, chef. Take a sniffle. See, how do you smell there?
Yes, nutty, cooked, yes.
Cooked beautifully. There's none of that ammonia
Onion,
coming
no,
through. The meat's now been cooking for an hour. It needs to be nice and tender.
The flavour, lovely.
Thank you, sir. Once the onions are in, lovely, 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 stir well and continue to simmer for another 10 to 15 minutes. Now for the final twist, coconut milk. So we got all these lovely spices in there, beautiful aromas. I love to use coconut milk with delicate meat as it just soothes and softens the flavor of the spices.
And then the potatoes in.
And then the tatties in. Just 1 minute now for us till the milk comes to boil.
Yep.
You don't want to cook coconut milk too much because it will split.
Right.
Ready for some taste
Oh, yes, please.
of this amazing, amazing lamb? Let me do one thing, sir. You take the fork, go for it, sir. What do you reckon?
Chef, the lamb. You can taste the sea lamb under. But the pepper and the clove coming through. This is lovely. What we have here is a classic British lamb stew, perfectly orchestrated with your spices. It's a winner. Our journey to bring the joy of spice to Wales' beautiful Gower Peninsula is now leading us into dangerous waters. Is this the end for us? We're driving off into the sea.
The Bury Inlet is one of the few estuaries left in Britain in which cockles are still gathered by hand.
I think that's the cockle pickers over there.
Yeah, let's have a look at them.
Here they've been using a traditional rake and riddle for harvesting cockles for 2,000 years.
We're meeting a man called Andre Switzer, a 4th generation cockle picker and a local legend. Good morning, sir. Would you happen to be Andre?
Yeah.
If we can get some of your wriggled cockles, we will make breakfast for you.
If you want cockles, you'll have to do some of the work.
Okay, Andre, what do we do?
To get at the cockles, first you have to rake them out of the sand. Then give them a good shake in your sieve or riddle to get rid of the smaller fry which are left behind to fatten till next time.
We better hurry up now, right? To get picking, right? Because the tide is coming in.
Come on, Mr. Singh.
Hold on 1 second, Chef. I've got all this. Methinks 'tis not a job for a man in a kilt. Cyrus is better suited.
I think I'll employ him before you.
He likes getting dirty.
Well, that's it. No mud is no money.
Nah,
No mud is no money.
Chef, we're panning for cockle gold here.
After all that work, see how much we get, yeah? So it's hard work, Mr. Andre.
But it'll be worth it. It's a tasty thing. It's standing the test of time. How would you eat it?
With a little bit of white pepper and vinegar.
So if we'd done something just a little bit different with some spices, would you give it a try?
Yes, I would.
Good.
See you there, okay? No problem.
You're our new hero, sir.
Here in the Gower, cockles are traditionally eaten for breakfast, and Andre's a man who likes tradition, so I don't know if he'll like his breakfast spiced.
To cook my cockle pickles breakfast, I'm sauteing garlic in rapeseed oil and butter. Could you please give me some smoked paprika and black pepper, sir?
This?
Yes, that's what I've been waiting for. Smoked paprika is the perfect spice to accompany any shellfish. And you can be generous with it because it's not overpowering and gives a wonderful color.
More pepper, he likes pepper.
Let's give it a good shake. Shake, shake, senora.
Yeah.
Shake your body line.
Here they use vinegar to spike the sweetness of the cockles, but we're using lime juice, which also peps up the paprika.
What do you reckon? Some good wine?
As long as it's British.
It is British, chef, because it's beautiful reserve here.
Oh, lovely.
What a sound. And in go the cockles to simmer until they open.
Lovely. A couple of minutes later and they're done. And we need to strain off the juices to make a reduction. Oh, can you smell that?
To finish, I'm adding a handful of fresh chopped coriander.
Okay, do you want me to pick some of the cockles?
If you don't mind, sir.
You can eat the cockle straight from the shell, but if you take them out, you can get a bigger mouthful later. Look how fat and plump they are.
Look at this one. Cockle pickers warm the cockle of your heart.
Now it's cockle time. Ready for breakfast?
There's our national costumes, right?
I didn't know you wore kilts as well.
Yes, Christ, I'm a cockle baron, man.
Cockle baron.
Yes.
The legendary cockle barrel.
Well, look, please sit on your throne. Come on.
Put that on the chair, chef.
We've got spices in here. I'm going to let you taste it. Tell us what you think.
You tell us if it warms the cockles of your heart, sir. After all that hard work.
I like the traditional way, and that's what I like, and it's been brought up with. And I'm not a spicy person,
Okay.
so you're on a loser to start with. But I got to tell you this, it's absolutely excellent. I've been converted.
Thank you, sir. Approved by the Baron himself.
Chef, Welsh cake.
Naturally.
Yeah. One of these food traditions that still lives, still survives. It's like everything else, the lamb, the cockles.
And I hope the Welsh people can continue with those traditions because that's what is needed.
Whatever happens, they're going to try. And it's up to us to help them.
Cheers, chef.
Cheers.
Brilliant time, brilliant. Thanks for the journey.
Next time, we're taking the high road to spice up my hometown, Edinburgh.
We are risking a riot tackling the city's beloved football pies.
Revealing how a spicy marinade is the secret to a juicy Sunday roast.
And paprika's power to pep up smoked salmon.
That is amazing. Oh, that really is good. Oh.